Zeus vs Hades Part Woodward Sierra. Thunder on Olympus. When the king of the sky faces the lord of death. Two forms of power. One forbidden question. In Greek mythology, there is a question rarely spoken aloud, not because it is difficult, but because it is dangerous. Who is stronger, Zeus or Hades? Zeus, king of the gods, wielder of thunder, the one who overthrew the Titans, ruler of the sky and the divine order. Hades, the one who dwells in shadow, without a shining throne, without glorious temples, yet every living being ultimately belongs to him. One rules life in motion, the other rules eternal stillness. Zeus is worshipped through oaths, Hades is feared through instinct. And while Olympus has always believed Zeus to be the strongest, a quiet truth has existed since the universe was divided into three realms. Zeus has never ventured deep into the underworld. Not because of laws, not because of agreements, but because there are places where thunder is no longer the ultimate weapon. I, Zeus, the power of the victor. Zeus was not born the strongest god. He became the strongest because he won. One, the god who overthrew his father. Zeus is the only Olympian who defeated his own father. Kronos triumphed over the Titans. An older, more primal generation of gods survived a 10-year war that shook the cosmos itself. Zeus's lightning is more than a weapon. It is a symbol of judgment. When Zeus strikes, he does not merely destroy, he passes sentence. 2. The power of visibility. Zeus rules from the sky. Everyone sees him. Every god hears the thunder. His power lies in presence, overwhelming force, psychological dominance. Olympus exists because Zeus allows it to exist. But this creates a deadly paradox. Zeus's power depends on others recognizing him as king. And that is something Hades has never needed. Second, Hades, the power of the one who never needed to win. Hades never fought for the throne, not because he was weak, but because he chose the only domain that could never be taken from him. 1. Hades does not rule death, he owns it. A common misconception. Hades is not the god of death. He is the owner of death. Thanatos carries souls away, but Hades decides where those souls remain, or whether they are imprisoned forever. No being, not even Zeus, can escape that fate. 2. Power that requires no display. Hades does not need worshippers, temples. Prayers, he has time. Every battle Zeus wins, every empire that collapses, every god that fades into obscurity, only makes Hades's realm larger. Zeus rules while the world lives. Hades rules when everything ends. 3. The first moment of Zeus's doubt. Olympus had never questioned Zeus's power, until the day souls refused to move on. Spirits wandered. Death was delayed. The balance of the universe fractured. And Zeus realized something terrifying. Something was happening in Hades's domain that he could not control. Hera warned him. Athena analyzed it. Apollo remained silent. But Zeus, with the instinct of a ruler, did the only thing he knew. He decided to cross the boundary of the underworld himself. 4. When thunder meets shadow. For the first time in history, the sky did not answer Zeus. Lightning weakened as he descended. Light was swallowed whole. Thunder fell silent. There was no battlefield, no armies, only the stillness of death. And at its center, Hades was waiting. No anger, no challenge, just a single sentence, colder than fear itself. Do you bring thunder into a realm where nothing living remains to fear it, Zeus? V. The confrontation. Never recorded. Zeus hurled lightning. The ground split apart. But the underworld was unharmed. Hades did not strike back. He merely gestured. And Zeus saw. Heroes, he once blessed kings, who swore loyalty to Olympus mortals, who died for ideals Zeus himself had granted all of them, standing behind Hades' throne. "Every choice you make," Hades said, "ends here." For the first time, Zeus understood. His power creates death. Hades' power possesses it. Ending of Part 1. The Fear. Zeus never admits Zeus withdrew, not defeated, but not victorious. Olympus still stood. Yet from that moment on, Zeus never again looked upon the underworld as a lesser realm. And the ancient Greeks acknowledged this truth without ever saying it aloud. They swore by Zeus's name, but they never spoke Hades' name lightly. Part 2. The Underworld Awakens. When death stops waiting. Opening. The war that does not begin with thunder. Wars usually begin with fire, with lightning, with screams. This one did not. It began with silence. After Zeus returned from the underworld, Olympus pretended nothing had happened. The gods resumed their feasts. Mortals continued their prayers. But something fundamental had shifted. Zeus no longer threw lightning casually. The sky hesitated before answering him. And for the first time since the Titan War, Olympus was afraid of something it could not see. Because the most dangerous truth was no longer hidden, Hades had not fought back. And that meant he was choosing the timing. When death stops, obeying it started subtly, not with gods, not with kings, but with ordinary deaths. Men fell in battle and did not arrive in the underworld. Victims of plagues lingered between breath and silence. Souls hovered at the edge of existence, unable to cross. Thanatos himself became restless. He still harvested souls, but the gates did not open. For the first time since the dawn of time, the underworld was not receiving what was promised, and Olympus realized the unthinkable. Hades was withholding death. Chut the panic of the gods. Athena was the first to understand the implication. Death was not merely an ending, it was a mechanism. Without death, war lost its meaning, sacrifice lost its weight, immortality became meaningless. Ares raged. "Let me march into the underworld," he demanded. "Let steel answer shadow." Athena stopped him with a single sentence. "You cannot kill what governs death." Apollo fell silent when his prophecies stopped resolving. The future no longer moved forward. It looped. Even Hera began to fear something she had never feared before. A king who no longer controlled consequences. Third, Zeus's first mistake. Zeus did what kings always do when power slips. He asserted it. He summoned the Moirai, the fates themselves. Clotho, Lachesis, Atropos. "Why has death slowed?" Zeus demanded. "Why does the world hesitate to end?" The fates did not bow. They did not answer directly. Atropos, she who cuts the thread, said only this: "Because the one who keeps the ledger has closed the book." Zeus understood immediately. This was not rebellion. This was accounting. Hades was reminding Olympus of something it had chosen to forget. Every god's power has a cost, and every cost is paid in death. 4. The underworld moves. Then it happened. The rivers of the underworld surged. Styx overflowed its banks. Lethe leaked forgetfulness into the dreams of gods. Souls pressed against the borders of reality. But still, Hades did not march. He did not invade. He expanded. The dead did not rise to attack Olympus. They whispered. They whispered to oracles, to madmen, to kings on their thrones at night. They whispered a single truth. The gods are not eternal. They are merely late. The realm Zeus cannot strike. Zeus gathered the gods. "Enough," he declared. "If Hades withholds death, I will take his realm from him." Lightning split the heavens as Olympus descended toward the chasm. And once again, Zeus made the same mistake. He believed power travels everywhere. The underworld did not resist. It absorbed. Lightning struck and vanished. Thunder roared and died, because the underworld was not a place. It was a state of being. You cannot conquer death. You can only arrive in it. And that was when Hades finally spoke to Zeus again. Not in anger, not in challenge, but in correction. You rule because they fear losing what they have, Hades said. I rule because everything they have eventually becomes mine. 6. The most dangerous realization. Zeus raised his thunderbolt, and for the first time he hesitated. Because he understood what striking Hades would mean. If Hades fell, who would receive the dead? If death lost its master, what would existence become? Endless suffering, endless decay, immortality as a curse. Hades was not Olympus's enemy. He was its foundation. And foundations do not threaten towers. They simply outlast them. Ending of Part 2. The balance breaks, Zeus withdrew again. This time, not in defiance, but in calculation. Olympus still stood. The underworld still waited. But something irreversible had happened. Zeus had realized he could not destroy Hades without destroying the universe that made Zeus king. And Hades had proven something even more terrifying. He did not need to win. He only needed to stop cooperating. Part 3. Judgment of the Immortals. When even gods are measured by death. Opening. The question no god dares to ask immortality was never meant to be tested. The gods were created to rule, not to end. And yet, after the underworld awakened, a forbidden question spread across Olympus. Silently, instinctively. What happens if a god dies? Not can a god die, but what would follow if it happened? Zeus heard the question in the pauses between thunder. Hades heard it in the patience of the dead, and both understood. This was no longer about power. It was about authority over the end of all things. Zeus's final assertion. Zeus stood before Olympus and did what kings always do at the edge of decline. He declared order. No god stands above me, Zeus proclaimed. I defeated the Titans. I hold the sky. I shape fate through law. And for once, no one cheered, because victory over the past did not answer the future. Athena stepped forward. Father, she said carefully, strength is not the same as inevitability. Zeus ignored her. He gathered every symbol of his authority. The thunderbolt, the aegis, the oaths sworn in his name since the dawn of mankind, and he descended once more, not to threaten, but to judge Hades. Sehun, the trial without a court. There was no battlefield. There was no army. Only a vast, empty plain within the underworld, older than Olympus itself. Hades stood alone, not armed, not armored, waiting. You claim dominion, Zeus said. You claim inevitability, but you have never faced me. Hades nodded. Because inevitability does not challenge force, he replied. It waits for it to exhaust itself. Zeus struck, this time with everything. Lightning did not shatter the underworld. It illuminated it. Every soul, every regret, every consequence of divine command. And for the first time, Zeus saw the full ledger. Every war blessed in his name. Every king empowered by his favor. Every life shortened by his thunder. The underworld was not rebellion. It was record-keeping. 3. The verdict Zeus cannot escape. Enough, Zeus demanded. What is it you want? Hades did not answer immediately, because desire was not his nature. I want nothing, Hades said at last. I already have everything. Zeus raised the thunderbolt again, but this time Hades spoke the words no god had ever spoken to Zeus. Strike me, and tell me where your dead will go. The thunderbolt lowered, not in defeat, in understanding. Killing Hades would not prove dominance. It would erase death itself and condemn existence to endless decay. Zeus could destroy his brother, but he could not replace him. 4. The moment of truth. Zeus finally asked the question he had avoided since the Titan War. Am I subject to you? Hades did not smile. He did not gloat. He answered with absolute calm. You are subject to consequence. Silence followed. Not fear, acceptance. Zeus ruled life's order. Hades ruled its conclusion. And conclusions do not answer to beginnings. The final balance. The Moirai appeared, uninvited. Clotho spun. Lachesis measured. Atropos held the shears. Even Zeus did not command them. Atropos looked at both brothers and spoke. Power commands events. Death commands certainty. The judgment was not dramatic. It was final. Ending. Who is stronger? Zeus returned to Olympus, still king, still feared, still powerful, but no longer absolute. Hades returned to the underworld, still unseen, still unpraised, still inevitable. And so the verdict stands. Zeus is the strongest among the living gods, but Hades is stronger than strength itself. Because thunder can be resisted, kings can fall, empires can end, but death never needs to fight. It only waits.